anything and everything, and I will do my best to answer any and all questions to the utmost amount of knowledge. As we do get going here, folks, we are starting off at an elevation of 6,559 feet, and we will be rising to an elevation of 10,378, meaning we're rising to rising roughly around 4,000 feet in elevation in about 15 minutes. So our maximum speed is going to be 17 feet per second. For those of you that don't know feet per second, miles per hour, I just so happen to. It's blazing fast, 12 miles an hour. So hang on. We just crossed our Cibola National Forest sign, meaning that we have left Albuquerque and entered into our national forest. So go ahead and turn around and give Albuquerque a nice good wave goodbye.
Bye, Albuquerque.
Goodbye, Albuquerque. Didn't like you in the first place. With the binoculars. Now up at the top of the mountain, it's a good 10 to 15 degrees cooler with a nice good breeze up at the top as well. As we get higher in the elevation, you'll start to feel all of the breeze coming through the windows, helps cool off the cabin a lot. But up top, it is a very beautiful day to go be outside hiking on any of our trails. There are plenty of trails that scour the entirety of the mountain itself. We're actually going to be crossing one of the first ones right now. It goes right to left to right, or however you want to look at it, and it'll stick up on our left-hand side. This trail is what's known as Tower 1 Access Trail. Back in the 60s, it actually used to be used as a maintenance road in order to bring all the materials and workers up to Tower 1. However, nowadays, it's just used as a hiking trail, and it's about 1.25 miles long, or a good 30 to 40 minute hike for those of you that may be interested. Now, if you look forward, you'll see this massive blue thing right in front of us. This is called Tower 1. When we cross over it, there will be some swing and sway or back and forth motion. I like to give my cabins a couple options. Option number 1, hang on for dear life. Option number 2, put your hands in the air and wave them around like you just don't care.
Hands up, Kennedy.
Alrighty, folks, here comes 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, folks, now that we crossed Tower 1, I do have some lovely rocks to point out to y'all. If you're not a fan of rocks, you're more than welcome to tune me out, but you will be missing out the majority of this lovely experience. First one I'll point out to y'all is on our right-hand side, directly behind me. If you look out there, you'll see what looks like a massive boulder staying on a bit of a pyramid. That is, in fact, what we call boulder rock, giant rock, golf ball rock. As long as it's large in description and says rock, you will be correct. Next one I'll point out to y'all is going to be on our left-hand side, slightly behind us now. If you look up on this little hill right over here, this is what we call, you may be able to make out an interesting rock formation. A lot of people say they see a cannon, so we aptly named it Cannon Rock. Just for a size comparison, Boulder Rock stands at about 2 times the size of this cabin, and Cannon Rock is about 1.5 times the size of this cabin. Now coming up on our right-hand side, folks, you'll see this flat slab of rock bouncing very precariously on its side. You may be able to make out some key characteristics, such as a fin, mouth, and an eye. That's why we call her Fish Rock. Another fun nickname we've given her is Two-Story Dory. As we cross her, you may notice she has a little bit of a frowny face. Go ahead and give her a good smile and wave. She may smile and wave back, and if she does, please don't tell me. I will be terrified. Now for a little bit of history about the tram. So the tram got started back in 1964, finished construction in 1966. The founders were Ben Abruzzo and Robert Nordhaus. They got the idea whenever Robert Nordhaus was hiking up in the Alpines, saw their gondola, and wanted to bring one to Albuquerque. Back in the 60s, they invested roughly around $2 to $3 million, which is roughly equivalent to about $15 to $18 million today. When it came to the cabling process of the entirety of the tram, there was a group of about 15 to 18 men who started at the top of the mountain with the cables in hand, hiked all the way down and attached those cables to winches and winched up the rest of the cabling. In the original blueprint design, there was actually an idea for 3 separate towers. That's where these remnants are right here. It's called Critical Point because they needed to blow up a part of the mountain to be able to build a 3rd tower. However, they blew it up and then they decided they didn't want one. When it came to the tram cars themselves, we've had 3 separate generation tram cars. First generation from 1966 to about 86-87. Second generation from 86-87 to 2017. And then this is our 3rd and present generation. The major differences that they made with the tram cars is they increased the size of the cabins for a larger passenger capacity. They increased the size of the windows so that you could be able to see out a lot more. And then they also gave it the ability to have a permanent water basin right below us. So on the previous water basins, you had to install a separate basin whenever we needed to make what's called water trips. These cabins actually have a built-in basin. So this is directly below us. It's 800 gallons. We use it for 2 separate reasons. The first reason is for ballast during our windier times of the year. If you're from New Mexico, you may know that our windier times of the year are during our spring and monsoon season, and we have to have enough weight on the cabins to be able to clear our towers. Secondary reason is we use water, what's called water runs, and we fill up our 3 water tanks up at the top of the mountain using the cabins themselves. Now, for those of you folks who may be interested, they actually renovated the first and second generation tram cars into a bar in Santa Fe known as Midway. They also, I believe they've moved one of them over to the Balloon Fiesta Park. If you want to go check that out as well, you're more than welcome to. But alrighty, folks, we're going to be slowing down right now. That's because we are going to be going over Tower 2. When we cross over it, there will be some swing and sway or back and forth motion. You are offered your two lovely options once again, hanging on for dear life or anticlimactic roller coaster. This is also where we find out if you're afraid of heights or not, so be prepared.
Oh, yes.
Now, for those of you folks up in the front, you may notice there's a massive rock approaching us. I will need y'all to pull up as hard as you can so we can just barely miss it.
Lift, pull, lift. Lift your feet.
Alrighty, folks, here comes that swing and sway in about 3, 2, 1, and woo! Alrighty, folks, if I can direct your attention straight ahead and slide to the right, you may be able to make out our secondary cabin. When we cross that cabin, that marks our halfway point, or about 7.5 minutes left to your journey up to the top of the mountain. As we do cross them, if you folks are feeling oh so friendly today, I highly recommend giving them a nice big friendly wave. However, if you're not feeling friendly today, I also highly recommend not doing anything at all. Also, I like to call wave with all 5 fingers. Hello, other cabin. Goodbye, other cabin.
Yeah, but
You not wave?
it's a different cabin.
Why not? You always leave it all the time.
Not this one.
He's up all week
Alrighty, folks, we're slowing down right now because our secondary cabin's going over Tower 2. Both cabins travel at the same exact speed at all times due to the fact that we're built off of a singular tow cable system. So when one cabin slows down, the other will do the exact same. But with us slowing down, that means that we are at our highest point above the ground in the cabin itself. We're about 950 to 970 feet in the air. Just for a little bit of a height comparison, the Eiffel Tower is a little over 1,000 feet tall, so you can almost fit the entirety of the Eiffel Tower directly below us. So for those of you folks who are not afraid of heights, I highly recommend looking straight down out those windows. And for those of you that are, I still highly recommend it. Now, while y'all are looking around this lovely large canyon, you may be curious on what its name is. It's a very unique name. It's known as Big Canyon. Took us a few weeks to figure that one out.
Just one more.
Now, this is where we do start to see a large portion of our wildlife. Any of the wildlife that you can see from the tram itself are going to primarily be black bears, mule deer, mountain lion, white-tailed deers, things like that. But some of our smaller critters that you'll see up at the top of the mountain are like ring-tailed cats, chipmunks, squirrels, things like that. And then our aviation life is primarily going to be red-tailed hawks, ravens, crows, Cooper's hawks, and some smaller birds as well. Do keep your eyes peeled though, as we do have one specific red-tailed hawk who likes to fly around the cabin. He's been seen landing on our tow cable, catching a free ride all the way up to the top of the mountain and gliding down. He's even been seen gliding down right next to the cabin. If you do happen to see him, his name is Jerry, and you are required to shout his name. Alrighty, folks, we're entering into our secondary canyon. This is what's known as Echo Canyon. So Echo Canyon actually has a spring-fed stream that runs all year round. It starts at the top of the mountain and works its way down, but as it gets lower in elevation, it actually starts to go more below ground. But any of those ponderosa pine trees that are attached to that stream can grow anywhere from 60 to 100 feet tall. Now, Echo Canyon actually got its name due to the fact that it's one of our 3 canyons where if you're standing inside of it and you shout, you can actually hear your own voice echoing back and forth off the rock walls. So sometimes we like to have a little fun here, slow down the cabin, open up the doors, and let y'all shout as loud as you can. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Now, just as a reminder, folks, as we're approaching a place of higher elevation, if you're not used to places of higher elevation, you may notice some symptoms of shortness of breath or lightheadedness. That's just due to the fact that there's a lot less oxygen on the top of the mountain, so please do be mindful of how you're feeling if you're going to be out and about and hiking around, or even just moving around on our observation deck. If you do start to feel lightheaded or short of breath and you can't seem to feel better, please do make your way up to the upper terminal building, let one of our attendants know, and we'll do whatever we can to help you in any way possible. Along with, at the top of the mountain, dehydration does occur a lot faster, so please ensure that you're drinking plenty of water. No, alcohol does not count. Alright, Alrighty folks, if I can direct your attention to the left-hand side of the cabin, if you look at these rock walls right over here, you may notice a very beautiful reddish pinkish hue to the rock. That's due to the fact that there's a mineral inside the granite known as feldspar, and that's actually how the mountains themselves got their name. Due to the fact that sunset, whenever the sunset hits the mountains just right, it'll glow a very beautiful reddish pink. So they called it the Watermelon Mountains, or the Sandia Mountains, because it looks like a watermelon slice at sunset. Alrighty folks, now we're entering into our third and final canyon. This is known as Domingo Baca Canyon. There's actually a trail that leads roughly directly below us, known as Domingo Baca Trail. If you look out the left-hand side of the cabin and you follow the canyon all the way up to the ridge where you see a slight V in the ridge, and you go all the way left to the highest peak, you may be able to make out a rock house or a black box. If you can't make out that rock house or black box, you might not be looking far enough left or high enough up. But if you do see that rock house, what you can be looking at is Kiwanis Cabin. This Kiwanis Cabin was actually built in the 20s and 30s by the CCC, or the Civilian Conservation Corps. They built it whenever they had workers on the top of the mountain that needed a place to stay while they're building trails. Now, some interesting history about Kiwanis Cabin is that it was actually rebuilt 3 separate times. The first time they built it out of log, it got struck by lightning and burned down. The second time they built it out of log again, and our canyon wind speeds can reach upwards about 120 miles an hour, so it got blown down off the mountain. So the third and final time they used the natural limestone layer that's at the top of the mountain. It's been there ever since. For any of you folks who are interested on a good hike, you do have the ability to hike over to Kiwanis Cabin. It's about 1.25 miles away. If you're used to hiking at elevation, it can take you about 15 to 30 minutes to get to the cabin itself. However, if you're not used to elevation, it can take you about 45 minutes to an hour. Any of you folks who are interested in going on any hikes up here, 2 things. First of all, if you don't know where to start at the Upper Terminal building, ask one of our attendants and they'll be more than happy to give you a trail map of all the trails up here if you don't know where to start. Secondly, if you are planning on going any hikes up here, do keep your eyes peeled, as you do have the chance to find fossils up here, since at one point in time this entire area was flat and covered in water. Along with the top of the mountain is primarily limestone, there's a very high chance for fossils to be found up here. Whenever we're going to be slowing down here in a few moments, folks, that's because we're going to be entering into our upper terminal docking area. When exiting out of the cabin, y'all be exiting out on the north side doors, the doors directly across from me. When we do get up there, all we have to wait for is this lovely green light above me to shut off, as that signifies that our secondary cabin has successfully docked to the lower terminal. It's usually about 10 to 15 seconds in between us docking and them docking before that light shuts off, so please do be patient. We'll open up those doors for y'all as soon as possible. But if you folks are planning on being up here for a decent amount of time, just so you know, if you did not dress warmly, it'll get fairly cold as the sun begins to set. Last night it got to around 38 degrees without wind chill. So do try to dress, if you don't have any warm clothing, do try to be inside any of the buildings that are up here. Along with last tram car down for the night is going to be around 9:30. But whenever you folks are ready to make your way back down, there's going to be a set of double glass doors on the north side of the building or the far left-hand side of the building. Go through those double doors to check in to come back down. Please make sure if you have your paper or electronic tickets on hand, as we do scan or check your tickets to come back down. If you did not take a screenshot down at the bottom of your electronic ticket, do not worry, we do have Wi-Fi up here. Yes, I know, it's very innovative.
You run the tram?
But we do tram car rotations roughly every 15 minutes, so whenever you folks are ready to make your way back down, please make your way over to the upper terminal building to check in to come down. Just so you know, since it is fairly busy today, if you have a specific time frame that you want to make your way back down, try to show up about 30 to 45 minutes early, just because the lines can get packed fairly frequently, especially with a large amount of people wanting to go down at the same time, just so you know. Alrighty folks, as we're approaching our terminal docking area, you'll notice there are going to be 2 metal bumpers left-hand and right-hand side. We may bump into them fairly hard, and the inside of the cabin may get jostled around a little bit. All I can really recommend is to hang on to something or someone, as long as they're okay with it. If you do feel like you're going to fall, just follow my golden rule. Take down the person closest with you.
You want to watch guitar?
But as we get... Once again, actually, now that I think about it, anybody who's in my general vicinity, I do not count, you will fail at pulling me down. Alrighty folks, here comes that first bump. Alrighty folks, there will be one final bump at the end of the docking area. If you look forward, you'll see those 2 of our pads. We may bump into them fairly hard, and those of you in the front will get a nice good taste of plexiglass, and those of you in the middle will get a nice good taste of the person in front of you. I'm kidding, we don't hit it that hard. While y'all are up here, I hope you enjoy yourselves, whether you're here for the trails, the view, the food, or just the cooler weather in general. I hope you enjoy yourselves, folks, and have a great rest of your day as well.
Stay safe.
So the trail at the bottom comes all the way up here? Or no?
Tower 1 access trail only stops at Tower 1.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Alrighty, folks, that final bump will be in about 3, 2. I was off. I don't apologize.
They can't come to get the money back.
You do have the ability to hike all the way up here. There's 2 trails. There's the
like that,
Columbus
Dad?
Trail, which is about 9.5 miles, and then there's the Pinot Trail, which is about 11 or 12 miles. Yes. I mean, if you're good at hiking, it can take about 10 hours to hike the Pinot Trail and about 7 hours to hike the Columbus Trail. Yes.
You want to go on the blue tram one more time?
I'm not 100% sure about camping. I wouldn't be surprised.
Excuse me, if you guys are lining up to go back down, if you could please wrap yourselves around the stairs here and leave a path so that people can get in and out of the building. Thank you. All right, watch your step, everybody. Watch your step. Welcome to the top of the mountain.
This way.
Pretty high altitude here, so make sure you're taking plenty of deep breaths. Try to stay hydrated. Have a great time.
I know.
All right, everyone, and you can take either the ramp or the stairs. We'll both take you to the observation deck. On the other side of that is our bar and restaurant 10-3.
It's crazy. I didn't have this camera last time. I had the other one.
Look at Albuquerque real quick. All right, here it is.
What? You can see if I guess. Sure. Did you look out there, Dad?
Yeah.
What?
I see it.
Did you see the Sandia? In the morning, when the sun's over here, you can see it a lot better. But over here, that's where the skiing is. So when we were here, there was a little bit of snow. You want to sit, Mom? Yeah, she's going to check on things, so I would just get a piece of shade or place. Yeah.